A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant geopolitical development, Ukraine finds itself at a crossroads as it faces pressure from the United States to accept a new peace plan aimed at ending the ongoing conflict with Russia. This week, U.S. President Donald Trump presented a 28-point framework to Ukrainian officials, demanding a response by Thursday. The proposed plan includes contentious provisions that require Ukraine to withdraw its military from parts of the Donbas region, reduce its armed forces, and abandon its aspirations for NATO membership. These conditions have sparked outrage among Ukrainian leaders and their European allies, who have expressed their desire to amend the U.S. proposal to better align with Ukraine's interests. Sources indicate that European Union nations are working to buy Ukraine more time to negotiate a more favorable deal, essentially attempting to rewrite the U.S. document while framing these changes as constructive updates. President Volodymyr Zelensky has publicly acknowledged the gravity of the situation, stating that Ukraine is facing one of its most challenging moments in history. He emphasized the difficult choice between accepting the 28-point plan or risking the loss of vital support from the U.S. The stakes are high, as reports suggest that Washington has threatened to cut off military aid and intelligence sharing if Ukraine refuses to endorse the plan. In a recent statement, Trump remarked that Zelensky would have to accept the terms, implying that continued conflict would be the alternative if an agreement cannot be reached. He pointed out the dire situation Ukraine faces with winter approaching and ongoing attacks on its energy infrastructure. On the other hand, Russian President Vladimir Putin has acknowledged receipt of the U.S. plan, noting that it could serve as a basis for a final peace settlement, although details have yet to be discussed. Meanwhile, European leaders have been working on a counterproposal that omits some of the more controversial elements of the U.S. draft. This alternative plan emphasizes respect for Ukraine's sovereignty and seeks to establish a ceasefire before negotiations over territory take place. The European proposal also suggests that any discussions regarding territorial disputes should begin from the current front line rather than requiring Ukraine to cede control of any areas. Additionally, it allows for Ukraine's potential NATO membership without eliminating it as an option, acknowledging the lack of consensus on the matter. Among the notable provisions in the European plan is a proposal for the International Atomic Energy Agency to take control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, which is currently occupied by Russian forces. The plan also includes a stipulation to cap Ukraine's military size at 800,000 soldiers during peacetime, which is 200,000 more than the U.S. proposal. Furthermore, the European nations have suggested that frozen Russian assets be utilized for Ukraine's reconstruction efforts, rather than being partially allocated to U.S. investors. In a bid for a sustainable peace, the plan proposes that sanctions imposed on Russia since 2014 could be gradually lifted if Moscow adheres to the terms of the agreement. European officials have expressed criticism of the U.S. draft, arguing that it undermines Ukraine's sovereignty and sets dangerous precedents for international relations. The plan has faced backlash from various quarters, with some U.S. senators questioning its origins and authenticity. Reports have suggested that the document may have been influenced by Russian input, leading to further scrutiny of its implications. As the deadline for a decision approaches, Zelensky has reiterated the importance of ensuring that any peace deal respects Ukraine's national interests and the will of its people. He has emphasized the need to halt bloodshed and prevent the resurgence of conflict, even as he navigates the complex dynamics of international diplomacy. In a recent statement, Zelensky expressed gratitude toward the U.S. for its military support, particularly highlighting the life-saving impact of Javelin missiles. However, he has also made it clear that he cannot blindly accept a plan that compromises Ukraine's sovereignty or territorial integrity. The sentiment among the Ukrainian populace appears to lean towards rejecting the U.S. proposal in favor of a more favorable European alternative. As discussions continue in Geneva, the outcome of these negotiations will have far-reaching implications for Ukraine's future and its relationship with both the U.S. and Europe. The world watches closely as Ukraine grapples with the dual pressures of international diplomacy and the urgent need for a resolution to the ongoing conflict with Russia. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.